All right, guys, welcome back to the Unrestrained podcast. Been a long week. We're doing on Monday for next couple weeks. Alfred's got some classes he's looking to take, so we're gonna switch it up a little bit, guys. We're gonna be doing these on Mondays for a few weeks, and then we'll go back to our normal Tuesday. But yeah, guys, we had a uptick in views, which is pretty cool, so we appreciate that, guys.
Yes,
People are subscribing. We got a little bit more subscribers,
Yeah, I
so
can see that.
yeah, we're getting more activity, so we appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps us out. As you can see, Alfred hooked it up, got me a new microphone. We got all new microphones, but it all yeah. I'm sure it's obvious by how good I sound finally. But let's get the introductions, and guys, we got Pastor Raul Ortiz back here. Say hello to people.
Hello, good to be back. Thank you for having me again, and looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Ernest here.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm back today. Yeah, it's good start off to a Monday.
Yep, and we got Alfred over there pushing buttons and
Yes, sir.
doing all the hard work.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're doing it all, guys. Welcome back to Unrestrained Podcast, man. Man, we're so excited. There's so much to talk about, you guys. Golly, I can't wait.
Yeah, guys. So we talk about it, and if we could do this every day, it'd be so much easier because there's so much that goes on, and we just kind of touch on things that we try to be relevant, but obviously we have a lot that's gone on since the debate. It appears that we are full blown time to get Sleepy Joe. The Democrats are looking to do the switch here. It seems the media has clearly now decided that they're going to do everything they can to help and aid in this effort to get Sleepy Joe out and replace him with who I don't know who. There's a lot of speculation out there. Anywhere from Newsom, Kamala, Michael, or AKA Michelle, which out of those people, who else has been? There was a new name I think that came up this week,
Hillary.
but Hillary. Honestly, I'd be honest with you guys. I honestly think that I would hope that by now people are paying too much attention to politics for them to get away with any of them actually winning.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be most concerned with Michael.
Yeah. Well, she already said that she's not running. She doesn't want anything to do with politics. That's been across the board said by.
I've heard the same thing too, but you never know. That might just be a front.
Yeah.
Some other curveballs I heard only because in the past she gave a speech and they called it a presidential speech. This is back like in 2017, 18, and it was Oprah, and her name came up. The Democrats need a shot of excitement. That could cause some excitement. And the other one they talked about also about running for president was The Rock, the
Dwayne
Rock.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that name was brought up too. It's like, kind of
That's
interesting.
weird because
little wild card.
He's not. He kind of backed away or
From Biden.
From
Yeah,
Biden. So I don't know if he backed away fully from the Democratic Party, but I did see that he was like, I'm not endorsing that, man. This
I saw that same thing.
Yeah. Well, I think he claims to be a Republican actually, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, he's
Really?
conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
initially back, if you guys think, if we take a
I
little
could be
bit
wrong, but I don't think-
memory lane, I think back in the 2012, he was considered conservative. I remember.
I want to say there was rumors that he was looking to run as a Republican for office of some sort. I just can't remember what it was.
That'd be interesting.
But yeah, no, I don't think he's realistic, and I don't trust anybody that when people
That's an
talk about
actor.
Michelle coming out. No, I'm just saying that's why I was Michelle, or let's just call him Michael. Michael,
Big Mike.
just because there's reports that she doesn't or he doesn't want to be a part of the race.
Yeah.
I'll call her she because she probably is a girl. I have.
I like how you sort
proof.
of doubt that. Like, she
Yeah.
probably is. I don't.
Yeah, and the most
That's what Joan
frustrating.
Rivers said.
You know what the most frustrating thing about it too is like how they get people to believe that she's actually good looking. She's not good looking.
I never.
I don't know. I guess if you're into masculine features in a woman, maybe that's your thing.
Yeah.
But
She has-
most guys are not.
Has bigger shoulders than Obama.
Yeah.
That's for
Jesus.
sure. I mean, come on now. We've seen the tabloids, right?
Oh,
They're in a boat, and who's rolling? It's him. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Michelle rolling and big old strong arms.
Oh dang, for real?
Yeah.
I've never seen that. That's crazy.
The thing is that there's so many beautiful black women out there that are truly beautiful, and they make it seem like she's, I don't know, let's throw some names out. Beyonce's beautiful. Let's just, right?
Call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if you go back to when she was the first lady,
Yeah.
I mean, they have people believing like she's just the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen in your life, right? And it's like, no. But anyways, besides the point, guys.
Sidebar.
Yeah, sidebar. I went on that, but yeah, let's get to it, guys. So after the campaign, and now we got CNN out there. Jake Tapper goes out, and we're gonna play this quick interview with Tapper, and looks like the campaign co-chair Chris Kuhn, and Jake Tapper. He's out there asking these guys, actual question, doing actual, journalism.
Shocker.
It's incredible, guys. So if CNN actually did this and was honest and real, the Democratic Party would not stand a chance. They would never get elected because they would actually be doing this kind of interview.
Yeah, that's why they consider right-wing media like too far right, where they're like, oh, well, you listen to Fox News, and it's like, okay,
The echo chamber.
Yeah, but now that CNN's actually doing some actual reporting, I don't want to say they're sounding more right-leaning, but they're
not
shifting.
sounding right-leaning. They're actually asking right questions that are reasonable.
But that's what I'm saying.
Shouldn't
like
be left or right.
Yeah,
right?
well, exactly. But
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, there is you have that left side that asks certain questions, but they kind of go away from the actual question that was asked.
Right. Let's go ahead and hit play on this, Alfred.
Let's do it.
And I think that was a weak debate performance. I don't think anyone in the campaign is disagreeing with that point. But I've been urging, and I expect that this will be moving forward for the president to reassure folks in the media, the general public, the many editorialists, and others who've expressed concern by doing unscripted, casual engagements with journalists, with small groups of voters, a town hall, so that you can see what I've seen with our president in the last few months and, of course, the last few years. He is engaging. He is capable. He has an incredible record as president. I don't think you would dispute that, Jake. But the core question is whether what you saw in those few moments of the debate and over much of the arc of that 90-minute debate was someone having a difficult night or someone who is no longer up to the job. As he said on the stage in North Carolina, he wouldn't be running if he weren't confident he's up for the job.
So with all due respect, it is not honest to say that this is just one night. There have been moments like this that people have seen in front of the cameras and other moments with cameras not there. Just 2 weeks ago, let me just show this clip. There was another moment like this, not just a senior losing a train of thought, but something else going on. Here he is. It was in an event about immigration. He tries to introduce DHS Secretary Mayorkas, and there's some sort of glitch. I don't know what it is. Let's roll that tape.
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas.
My new book, Keyboard Race, How Anyone Can Earn Six Figures.
I'm surprised it hasn't been blasted more over everything else.
Go ahead and hit play so you can skip it, Alfred. But you got to hit play.
Hold on. I'll get the audio.
Yeah. Go ahead and skip. There you go.
I don't know what that was.
That doesn't trouble me at all, Jake.
Of course it doesn't.
You can
With a
put up
straight
a
face,
dozen
poker
clips
face.
of me, of you, of anybody who's on TV, who speaks publicly all the time, losing their train of thought, misstating who they're about to introduce, not having a fluid moment. And if we're honest with each other, Jake, every time Donald Trump speaks in front of a rally, there are long stretches where he is saying nonsense.
There we go.
Yeah, so he's just gonna go on and try to
make
make
a
it
comparison.
Of course.
a comparison, and who can honestly? There is nobody that can be honest with themselves. I shouldn't say nobody. how many people do you guys really think that Trump has cognitive issues or any kind of?
Bro, I mean,
A small percentage of the population.
True,
That's
a
it.
small,
A small.
exactly.
They're the minority.
I don't know about you guys, but every time I see him at rallies, he's going strong for 3 hours without losing the train of thought. I mean, he's boom, 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 back to
Exactly.
back.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'll admit he has like his little things here and there where he'll.
Well, the rants are normal.
Yeah, it's like a little rant, like a mini rant. You know, like, well,
Yeah,
this
what-
was the best, and then, anyways, back to the point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
But
I do
that's
that.
But he's
I do-
coherent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's coherent. So there's a
Right.
huge difference.
Yeah, and they're trying to use examples like that, like him saying, "Oh, wild stories." They say supposedly, wild according to them, because to me, it's any reasonable person listens to him and understands that, Trump's an entertainer. His speeches are really kind of like a comedy act.
Yep.
And so that doesn't mean that he has any cognitive issues at all. I mean, anybody, but that there is people out there. There's people that watch CNN and are listening to him and are so programmed that they actually believe in. They believe that now when Trump is going out and, I don't know, going on a tirade or whatever, that's an example of him having some sort of cognitive issue.
Yeah,
Well-
I don't understand.
Well, one of the things I feel the reason why they do that, bro, is because this is what they want the base to actually believe. You know what I mean? Like, he's going after it. He's going after these nonsense, right? That's why I don't know if you guys noticed on our last podcast, they called him out in CNN. They called out how many times Biden lied, right? Which they counted 9, right? I mean, the
sure
whole
there was
now,
more,
and
yeah.
then he comes back and says, well, with Trump there was like 30.
Yeah,
Right, but-
36, 38.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
he lied, but he lied bigger.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Right.
They have to frame it that way now.
They must, and I think, and to the credit here, I think you guys brought up a good point. If they have to go out of their way to lie that much, can you imagine the border base, right? What kind of how smart is the Democrats, to really believe actually what these people are plotting out? I mean, right now you saw this guy Chris Kuhn right away try to sharpen down the edge from Jake Tapper, kind of like in the beginning says, who doesn't, Jake, right? Kind of like right away he saw him coming.
Yeah.
I could tell Jake. I could tell he's like his
Well-
brush is ready to attack pounds, and he's like right away. You can tell right away he was like, oh, I gotta dole out the knife here.
Yeah, dude, it's
Well, the Coons is just totally gaslighting the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, straight face, poker face, but he's lying and he knows he's lying.
well, the
He's
fact
got
that
to sell it.
the fact, yeah, exactly. Like you said, he has to sell it. The fact that he sits there with a straight face and then tries to say, well, Trump, this, that, and the third. I mean, how many times, like he says that, oh, well, everybody has those. Biden's had those for years now. We've seen it time and time again where he's, climbing up Air Force One. How many times
Right,
did he do
right.
that in one go around?
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah, he's caught on video every time. So to say that this is like, oh well, it's in the last recent month or two, whatever, everybody does it. It's like, no, dude, that's not the full thing, man.
And I think we said it here a couple of times. I mean, we said it multiple times. I think I caught Isaac and Ernest. You guys said this before in the past, and I caught I caught it. What you're saying? They're trying to normalize this, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like this is normal, you guys. They kind of like normalize, And last week, I also caught what Pastor Raul Ortiz said. This is what they tell you, right? When they stole 2020. They were trying to normalize it. Like, it's normal. They're not going to win, remember? We talk about Hillary, how they were projecting it and everything. And then it came out to say, hey, he lost. And that was a good thing. Why are they asking these questions? I think I brought up the same question last time to you guys. Why would they go out of the way, CNN, to ask President Donald Trump, hey, if you lose, would you accept? Like, he hasn't accepted 2020.
Yeah, but then they call him an election denier. And they keep stating, the left side, they're like, oh, well, he's an election denier, blah, blah, and that's all that they really have. But mind you, Hillary Clinton was doing it prior to. She was like the OG of starting that whole thing. Was, she claimed Donald Trump stole the election, and from there on out, everybody was like, well, he's not my president, and then so on and so forth.
That's true.
Yeah. Alfred, can you cue up the other one? Yeah, it's clear, guys, that there is some sort of war going on behind the scenes right now. Like I told you guys, I don't think the Bidens are gonna quit.
I don't think so.
I don't think. I think people are realizing that now. That doesn't mean that they can't. I mean, he might not. He might get to a point where, if the money dries up. I mean, it sounds like the donors are already concerned,
backing out.
You obviously he's lost the media clearly, and after this, if they actually do have a second debate, and now I'm thinking, okay, they're not going to protect them. The drugs aren't working.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a repeat of the first one. That's going to be a death knell. I think Whoopi on The View was talking about. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
yeah,
she was saying that she's spreading the same narrative that it's just a bad night. It was just a bad night, just not poor performance in his part. And she said that, if it happens again the second time, that she'll have to join the replacement campaign, right? She would join that effort to get him out. And you know what? We'll see. We'll see if that holds true, because I don't see. I think it's going to be bad. And really, when you think about now, they've done such a good job. Apparently, I guess not for us, right? Because we don't watch CNN, and we actually watch real news. So to us, we've known that he's that bad.
For months.
Right?
Since the beginning.
For years, not just months.
Yeah, since the beginning.
But I think within the last few months, it's gotten worse.
It's gotten worse. But they've had the benefit of the first go around. We had COVID with the shutdowns, and they were able to they had the excuse, right, for him not being out there that much.
Yeah.
Right. And so they got him through that first election, and then you figure the last 3.5 years, it's all been very controlled as much as possible.
Right.
And the gaps that he does have, they just don't show him. Right. They don't show their audience.
No.
So they don't keep showing the videos of him falling upstairs,
falling,
on a
wandering,
bicycle.
having to be pointed. You're supposed to go over here.
Right.
No, and see, that's what I like about what we started doing with actually pointing those videos, because the people that are watching and or listening, they can actually see the videos with us to say, okay, these guys are even reporting on it. So why isn't CNN doing the same thing? Why aren't these people that I'm used to watching doing the same thing?
Yeah.
So I think what's going on here too, from my personal opinion and what I see, going back to what I talked about last week, was that the world's a stage, and we're seeing a script played out, and they got to have now all of a sudden CNN's reporting on it, and they're reporting like the way we've been reporting on it for the last 3 years. They've seen this stuff. They've seen exactly what we've seen, but they've gaslighted it the whole time. But they never had any intentions for him to run a second term.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're seeing the meltdown right now, and they're all playing their part. They're all playing their part.
I think you're absolutely right.
So let me ask you that though, Raul. If they had no intentions of him running a second term, then why did they just skirt him right through the primary then?
Again,
I mean, they had an opportunity there. What happened?
Yeah, so for them, because the narrative with mainstream dinosaur fraudulent corporate control media was that he was the president, everything was good, even though we have a lot of video of him falling, wandering around, losing his train of thought, speaking some crazy stuff. But it was all right-wing conspiracy type theories. We have the videos. And so they had to get him through the primary, because if they try to change horse right there and then as an incumbent, which they'd never done before, then how would that look?
Yeah.
With the Democrat Party, it wouldn't have been acceptable. So they had to sacrifice him, and that's why they did it so early for the first time in history. And then in the first few moments, you see, and you notice how he looked too on that night. He looked kind of pale, and then. Since then, have you noticed he's got more color in his face now? And a lot of after.
Well, he's past his cold now. He had a cold.
Yeah, supposedly, But they said that his best times are from 10 to 3, when he has more thinkability power. After that, he starts to lose it.
Thinkability. I heard he only works from 11 to 4.
I got the same problem. I think.
Yeah, so
I only can think from 10 to 3. So. Yeah, but we got, so what ends up happening? So you guys saw Jake Tapper's like, hey, we're gonna get him out there. He's gonna be doing some interviews, and you guys are gonna see, that was just a bad night. right? That was what he was saying. You know, he's gonna go out now. He's gonna do some unscripted interviews, and you guys will see for yourself that this was a bad night. And what happens is, apparently, there's a Philadelphia radio host who interviewed him, and we're gonna go ahead and play this because apparently, she was provided questions, a group of questions that she went through and approved ahead of time. So, and turned them into the White House. And what ends up happening apparently is she ends up, I guess, what was it, guys? Did she get fired? Or I guess they're saying she resigned, right? Yeah. After this. And I guess we could only speculate that because the statement by the radio show, the president of the radio station, one of the things he mentioned was something, what was it, that it was damaging to the truth of their audience? Of the audience. Yes. That her questions were damaging. That her questions, which again were pre-approved and by the campaign. Well, she approves them, but the campaign had them and knew of them, and I guess you could say approved them, I guess would be logical. They didn't like them, so they must have just blamed her for what turned out to be a disastrous interview. But go ahead and hit play here, and you can hear from what happened.
Something, I listened to both of them, and there's something that's similar here. You each you asked 4 questions, and maybe that's what you were allowed to ask by the campaign or the White House. But they were essentially the same questions, both interviews, about accomplishments, progress in your respective state, what's at stake in the election, what he has to say about his debate performance, and what he would say to voters who think their vote doesn't matter or might sit this election out. Were those questions given to you by the White House, or or the campaign, or did you have to submit questions ahead of this interview?
The questions were sent to me for approval. I approved them.
Okay, so the White House sent the questions to you ahead of the interview?
Yes.
Okay.
I got several questions, 8 of them, and the 4 that were chosen were the ones that I approved.
Okay. And the reason I ask is not a criticism of either of you. It's just that if the White House is trying now to prove the vim, vigor, acuity of the president, I don't know how they do that by sending questions first before the interview so that the president knows what's coming. Let me play here a bit of your interview. This is, and you've probably seen it's gotten a lot of attention, this is when he was asked about his accomplishments as president. Let's play it.
I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president.
Did you hear, as it's being
go ahead and
covered, the president say that he was proud to be the...
Oh my man.
Yeah, but so to be fair, I mean, I think it's clear that he meant to say that he had the first woman black vice president. But again, this is a problem, guys. You can keep making excuses for him. But I could tell you now that everybody else in the world is held to a different standard than Joe Biden is, because you can't have the president of the United States. Imagine this, your boss having these issues. Imagine your boss having these issues and you go to work, or a client, whatever. If you're self-employed, then your clients are your bosses, right? And they're this bad of a communicator where they're constantly giving you bad information. Like, how do you work for somebody like this? You don't even know what the heck they're telling you. You know what I'm saying? But I did find this article on here that goes on to say, it talks about this. So this is the radio station. It says, in its own statement later Sunday, WURD radio said that Andrea Lawful Sanders had arranged an interview without knowledge, consultation, or collaboration with management, and violated the station's editorial independence by accepting questions supplied by the Biden's team. The outlet, which describes itself as Pennsylvania's only African-American owned operated radio station, also said Biden aides decisions to supply questions to Lawful Sanders prolonged a historical practice of marginalizing and demarginalizing black voices in the U.S. media. Okay, okay. I hadn't read this article, but they make a good point. WURD radio is not a mouthpiece for the Biden or any other administration, said the statement from Chief Executive Officer Sarah Lomax, who added that the station would review its policies, procedures, and practices to reestablish its independence and trust with its listeners. So what it sounds like, guys, is that I kind of have to give them praise, because what I'm gathering here, and I could be wrong because I haven't honestly read this whole article, but from what we're reading so far, it seems like they're upset because really it's about the fact that she had questions ahead of time. And if it is in fact true that she did not consult with them and, collaborate with management, then I could see their problem with that. Right? Because what they're saying is that their issue is that it's not fair to their audience. They're losing credibility because they received those questions ahead of time.
Right.
And they didn't know about this.
Scripted.
Yeah. So they have a problem with the fact that it's scripted.
Well, so I guess
which is fair.
Sorry to interrupt, Pastor. But I mean, to the point that you're making, I mean, whose program is it? I mean, is it hers? I mean, how many? I mean, these are some of the questions that I like to ask. Is this anchor here or this host? How long has she been with the radio station? I mean, is this something a norm that she can? I mean, this is something that you do, right? It's kind of like here we run our own content. We have our own conversations. We're very acute, prepared, right? Knowledgeable on what we're talking about. Well, what about her? I mean, she's running her own show. Wasn't she? I mean, out of the woodwork, why is the station saying like, hey, she went out of the policy of not notifying us of the questions?
I mean, Alfred, I to be fair, I mean, it's their station, and I'm sure they have contracts.
Oh, of course.
And there's policies that she still has to abide by. I mean, they could be full of crap, but honestly, I kind of tend to believe them because I can see how they have a problem with this. Because it's coming out, and she put it, she went out there and confessed that she received these questions and she approved them ahead of the interview. That's a bad look.
So it doesn't look organic anymore.
Right.
It
Well, I mean, controlled.
Okay, yeah.
If you're a radio station and your audience believes that
you're
being authentic.
you get
you're just having a conversation. It's
Yeah,
organic,
this is
and just flowing, free
Correct.
flowing. Yeah, so you get more trust because it's authentic.
Well,
it's
I mean,
genuine.
correct.
But now when she comes out and confess that she's got these questions
because
beforehand,
then that loses the people ahead because then
because guys, they're talking about we are not a mouthpiece for any campaign, and that's essentially what she put that. Oh, that was weird. That's essentially what she did. Because of the fact that they were out ahead of time.
Okay,
and this is a collaboration between her show and the White House.
Yeah, and the Biden administration.
Right.
I mean, you can't look at this any different.
Gotcha.
You understand?
I hear you.
This is why they're saying that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Let me see. Where did I leave off? Where they're talking about, this last section where it says, I'll read this part again where it says, also said Biden's decision to supply questions to Lawful, which is her name, I guess. It would keep throwing me up. Her name is Lawful Sanders. Prolonged a historical practice of marginalizing and delegitimizing black voices in U.S. media, because you're feeding that black voice, which is her, the host. You're feeding her.
You're using her as a mouthpiece.
She's your mouthpiece.
Yeah.
You're giving her the questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that way she has to go and ask
okay.
him, and then he gives a proper answer, so that way
He's
he
prepared.
can. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, if the proper thing would be that she's coming up with the questions that she feels represents her audience.
That seems like a pandering tactic.
I mean, think about it, guys. If we had a bigger audience, and we had hundreds of subscribers and thousands of views, and we had the opportunity to interview Trump or any politician, right? I mean, wouldn't we want to take that opportunity to represent our viewership, the people that watch us and support us?
Yeah,
I hear you.
You understand? So I'm gonna ask the questions I
real
want,
questions.
just like Paul Ruiz, right? I mean, last week we asked him some questions, and I mean, granted, those are questions that I wanted to ask, but
they're authentic.
Yeah, but
It
it's just stuff that I think is interesting.
Yeah, it's a list of questions, but at the same time, like, we don't know what we're gonna pick. You don't know what I was gonna. I mean, for the most part, you probably did, but we had that genuine conversation where it was like he didn't know anything of what was coming at him that day. So everything that we do is unscripted, so it makes it more authentic and more general too. I feel like the more the people that are know. It's we're just like one of them, just like anybody else. Any one of these politicians are just like one of us. But the minute you start going behind the scenes and kind of moving, whatever in the direction that you want because you're the administration that's not trying to look bad, then it just doesn't seem authentic, and it just seems like you're BSing me.
Yeah, and more importantly, it's obviously now, guys, going back to another point is the fact that according to their campaign is that he's going to go out and do these unscripted shows so that you can see for yourself that he's not a lunatic, and clearly he still messed up. He didn't even answer right, and clearly we know that it's a lie. That they're going out there and they're approving questions, they're providing questions, and he knows what he's going to be asked ahead of time.
Softball questions, safe and softball questions,
right?
Yeah, I think the other thing too is in the day and age that we live in, especially probably since after 2016, and as Trump really talked about the fake media and people were waking up to that fake media and seeing these scripts, that the last thing you want your viewership or listenership is to know that,
to pick up on that.
Like wait a minute,
why does this?
We're not fake news.
Yeah.
We're not,
exactly.
we're not being scripted here. This is supposed to be, real talk. Now they.
But once you start getting that into your head, you start looking at the questions a lot better, and then you're like, wait, why was this person given this hard question, but this one a softball question? That doesn't make sense.
Well, you know what? And to that, man, I think they're onto something. I mean, just over the last couple of days, I saw one of the I guess it was I want to say somebody within the White House said that the president was going to do a big boy conference.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I was like, it threw me off. I'm like, wait a minute, a big boy conference. So what kind of conference has he been doing? I mean, initially, because we've been saying like, hey, every time he's there, right? We should have a president that has the answers, that it's going to respond well, right? And in a sense, he's just, now he's making it sound like this time we are going to have a big boy conference.
I want to know if he's going to carry his own bag. So
it's kind of sad because I don't know if any of you guys have dogs, but that's kind of like how I would treat my dog and be like, oh, look who's a big boy. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of it's embarrassing that you just kind of made fun of this guy in plain sight, dude.
Yeah. So things just keep getting worse for the Trump campaign because it's crazy when the media does their job. Which
you mean Biden campaign?
Well, yeah, the Biden campaign. Sorry, but the media's out there doing their. I'm not even gonna say they're doing their job because what they're really doing is still serving the Democratic Party by helping them switch. But they're actually at least being, I guess, in the process of them trying to get Sleepy Joe out. They're actually forced to do what they should be doing, which is reporting things. And one of those things that's coming out is this. They finally decided, I guess, to check out what's going on, looking at White House records, apparently, because, they do have records of who goes in and out of the White House. And,
right.
But this article from the New York Times, Parkinson's experts visited the White House 8 times in 8 months. The White House said President Biden had met with a neurologist only 3 times in more than 3 years in office. But it would not say whether the visiting expert was consulting with the president, physicians about his health. So interesting, right? That it's been 8 months. So once a month, this neurologist has been going to the White House. Now, granted, they don't know who the neurologist is examining, right? Because apparently
once a month.
Well. Yes, but I mean, it could be. I mean, they talk about their staff, and to be fair, okay, they go there. There's different people in the White House, but is it unreasonable that it's Sleepy Joe, that one person that keeps demonstrating cognitive neurological issues? And the other thing that this exposes is, isn't it interesting that the New York Times is actually reporting on this. I mean, it's been 8 months.
And they're barely saying something about it now.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Is like now's the perfect time. They had to sacrifice him first. Now they can start, you know, the whole narrative machine going after him. So it doesn't, like, when they come up with this stuff, it's like they're not really on our side. They're still doing what they're doing. It's kind of like right now, like a lot of Republicans they're having the hearings with Fauci and all that, you know, during COVID, and now they're questioning him. It's like, well, it would have been more important if you did that back in 2020, because that same information that you're bringing up today was back in 2020, but it was unpopular back then.
Yeah.
They called it, you know, we're a bunch of conspiracy theorists.
Honestly, I could see them holding like 3 months just as, like, you know, the first month just to test, second month, you know, double check, and then the third time to just 100% verify, like, hey, this is what's going on with him, and then actually come out 3 months after. But the fact that you come out with it 8 months later, to me, it's like sacrificing the lamb right now.
Now we can jump on them.
It's not a coincidence that they're reporting on it.
No.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah, they got to continue to build up the story, and then Jill's got to do her part and like fight for her husband, and you know, and then so the whole thing got to come to a culmination.
And it's like I was saying, you know, it gives them 5 months to prep somebody else, but then it also shows to the public, like, hey guys, we can't run him, and he's our only guy, so, you know, we kind of have to let him go and make it kind of cool with you people. That would bring somebody else. Yeah, exactly. So they're bringing somebody else in, and, you know, they're not going to feel, I guess, in the wrong to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah, so the article says an expert in Parkinson's disease from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center visited the White House 8 times in 8 months from last summer through the spring, including at least once for a meeting with President Biden's physicians, according to official visitor logs. The expert, Dr. Kevin Kennard, is a neurologist who specializes in movement disorders and recently published a paper on Parkinson's. The logs released by the White House document visits from July 2023 through March of this year. More recent visits, if there have been any, would not be released until later under the White House voluntary disclosure policy. It was unclear whether Dr. Kennard was at the White House to consult specifically about the president, or was there therefore unrelated meetings. So again, it just goes on to talk about how, you know, he could be there for other meetings, but you know, again, it's the timing of this, guys. It's been 8 months, once a month. He's been going, and the New York Times finally decided to check the visitor log. So, you know, what's been going on. I mean, either they've known about this and they just haven't been reporting it, you know, just kind of holding on, or, you know, it's like, okay, guys, start looking into things, and good. Let's check the visitor logs at the White House. Let's see what comes up. Oh, lo and behold, right? So now we have the video, because now this girl is just having a hard time. So you know, her job's been tough, but it's just gotten tougher and tougher. So now you actually have, you know, the White House press secretary pool actually asking questions, and so they ask her about this, and this is what she has to say.
Like, very clearly, yes or no, was that expert here to participate in anything surrounding the care of the President of the United States?
So let me just say a couple of things. We have had a comprehensive, and I just want to take another step back, comprehensive physical examination. The President has had that. We've given a comprehensive report. We've shared that the past 3 years. Every year that he has had this exam, he sees a neurologist. And just to give you a quote from that, from the report most recently in February, an extremely detailed neurological exam was again reassuring in that there were no findings which would be consistent with any cerebellar or other central neurological disorders, such as a stroke, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, or ascending lateral sclerosis, end quote. So that came directly from in February in that comprehensive report that was provided by the President's doctor to me, that I share with all of you. So anyone who is watching can certainly go to our website.
The question, which was this expert's visits, was multiple visits to the White House pertaining at all to the President's care?
Well, here's the thing. I've said he has had three. He has had three physicals in those 3 physicals, that's when he has seen a specialist, a neurological specialist. I have to be super mindful here, and this is why, and I'll explain this to you in a second. There are thousands of military personnel who come onto this White House.
She's just going to go on to nonsense.
Many of them
things that don't make sense. Making it seem like this is normal.
Yeah.
This is just normal, guys. And the easy answer would have been, the easy way for them to stop all of this would be like, hey, those audios the audio of his cognitive test that everybody's been asking about. Yeah, we're gonna release those. That would end it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, wouldn't be the perfect time to make Republicans look like a bunch of idiots?
100%.
Right now, if you just drop that bomb, you release the audio, and I'm wondering if the media is gonna drop that, if they're holding on to it. You don't think they have it?
Oh,
I mean, they might have it.
They might, but I don't think they're going to release it. Not right.
I think it'll be like the last ditch effort. They'll probably just hold on to it just for the right time if they need it. They said that when you go back in history, you look at Bush when he was running for a second term, the Democrats were claiming that Bush had Osama bin Laden's body on ice, and that because he was supposedly behind the polls, and that he was going to bring out just before the election, like the October surprise, that, hey, we have Osama bin Laden. And every Democrat during that time was like, no, he has it. He has his body. And but then he never did, because he won pretty convincingly. So it's the same type of idea. They're going to bring it up if they need it.
When they absolutely need it. I mean, that makes sense as your last, plan of attack, I guess.
Yeah, so you have the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee requesting, I guess on Sunday, that President Joe Biden's physicians appear for a transcribed interview about Biden's medical evaluation. So, the Republicans are out there turning up the heat. And, what's the problem? I mean, if you wanted to end this right now, if you're Joe Biden, you can put this to bed right now by releasing... is it a video, or is it
I think it's just audio, no?
Or audio? I think it's video or audio of his cognitive test.
Well, initially they had the video and audio. I mean, they had video, audio, and then they got the transcripts. The ones that they released were the transcripts, and so now the Judicial Committee wants the actual audio, because the audios were actually, will really, it kind of gives them a visual, right?
You can hear the mumbles probably, but the transcript probably doesn't show you like the.
Well, I mean,
the pauses, or it might just be like pause.
Yeah, I hear you.
Where he just shuts down, right? So it's like he's talking and there's just.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
the visual of that.
So how do you put that on the transcript?
I mean, you're gonna put pause, but when you're reading that, you're not gonna.
Well, look at the facial expressions he had during the debate. They literally had the split screen, and
he was just off.
He looked lost.
In La La Land. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, looking down to the floor.
I find funny though is the KJP how the reporter was like very direct with this question. He's like, it's a simple yes or no.
That's it. That's it.
And then she goes off on this whole thing, and I just find it funny that she does that every time, and so she's clearly lying to the press in front of everybody.
I mean, you can tell right away when she's lying is when she's looking down and she's blinking.
Yeah.
She's constantly
100%.
looking down and blinking.
Then when she goes around the question so far around that she comes back to the reporter, the question's already lost, but then she's, they'll ask her, well, that's not what I asked you. And she'll, no, but I clearly answered the question. All right, next reporter. And
just gaslight it again.
Yeah. So, and nobody questions it. Nobody says anything to her. And so I just find it crazy that people that do listen to CNN and all that stuff, like, how does it not make you upset that you're finding out in real time that your news is lying to you, and stuff that, we've been talking about as individuals, have been saying all these kinds of things for months now, and now that it's getting released, it's like, dude, are you guys not upset that these people consistently lie to you, don't tell you the truth, and then what? Like, you don't start asking questions as to why, or looking into Trump and his deal, or like even being in the middle. Like, I don't know, but you don't want to leave that side.
Well, there's what's called cognitive dissonance, where when they believe in something so religiously, and when they're faced with the truth, their minds just can't comprehend it. And then there's a Stockholm syndrome, where they'll defend their very captives. they're captives, they're prisoners, but they'll defend their captors. So they're suffering from cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome.
That's crazy, man.
Well, speaking of captors, check out this article. In Ukraine, killings of surrendering Russians divide an American-led unit. A German medic said he was so troubled that he confronted his commander. Others boasted about killing in a group chat. So this article talking about how they're killing surrendering Russians that are surrendering. So it goes on to say here, let me get back to the top. Hours after a battle in eastern Ukraine in August, a wounded and unarmed Russian soldier crawled through a nearly destroyed trench seeking help from his captors, a unit of international volunteers led by an American. Man, so it was a unit that was led by an American. Wow. Casper Gross, a German medic in that unit, said he saw a soldier plead for medical attention in a mix of broken English and Russian, and it was at dusk. A team member looked for bandages. That is when Mr. Gross said a fellow soldier hobbled over and fired his weapon into the Russian soldier's torso. He slumped and still breathing. Another soldier fired, just shot him in the head. Mr. Gross recalled in an interview. So this is where your taxpayer dollars are going, guys.
Wow, that's crazy. See, I mean, not necessarily you don't need to have the military there. You got contractors.
Yep. Well, why are we even there? Is the question. Why are we there?
Yeah, Mr. Gross said that he was so upset by the episode that he confronted his commander. He said he spoke to the New York Times after what he regarded as an unwarranted killing, as unwarranted killings continued. So this was continuing, and it's highly unusual for a soldier to speak publicly about battlefield conduct, particularly involving men whom he still considered friends. So yeah, I mean, guess the New York Times, this is a New York Times article. And yeah,
it doesn't say anything in there that he's like some kind of mercenary, right? Like he's not there just because he wants to be.
He's a medic.
So okay, yeah. So again, why are we there?
German medic.
Oh, never mind. I thought it was our guy.
No, but he talked about there is Americans in the group. That
okay, yeah. So again, why I don't understand why
he himself is a German medic.
So don't you think that would actually be pushing the lines with Putin to be like, well, your guys are in Ukraine, and we said no. Like U.S. to stay out of this, because technically we'd be in it.
Well, I don't know what you mean. Is the fact that we have Americans there?
Yeah, that's what. Like if they're fighting there.
Well, they're not fighting. This is a group. It says international volunteers led by Americans. I believe they're medics. The volunteers,
like humanitarians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, like okay.
Yeah, they're a medic. It says German. It's a medic unit.
Okay,
I guess it's what it says.
I mean,
so they're not soldiers, but they're medics. They're military medics, and they're out there in units. And so, this is the thing. I mean, what do you? Let me ask you, Raul. What do you think about? Do you ever wonder if Putin really is as bad as the media portrays him to be? Is he really the demon, the dictator, the threat?
He's come a long ways where he's promoting family. He's paying to have more kids. So he's really turned that country around, and they got rid of a lot of the bankers that's kind of plagued nearly every nation on earth.
Yeah.
Kicked them out. He still has issues within that government because you got his government who's also sold out to the New World Order and trying to push that agenda. Mm-hmm. So basically what happened was that he was backed in the corner, and he had to come out swinging. And on, February 24th, 2022, that was the flashpoint of World War III. And that's where, so he's playing into the globalist blueprint of having this World War III scenario. We would have had that probably happen sooner if Hillary would have got in 2016. but she didn't. So, Trump came in and stalled that program, and then now we're seeing it like hyperspeed because they're behind their plans. So Putin, even though he may be,
so you think it's gonna happen no matter what? Like you think World War III is just inevitable?
well, if you go back to when you go back to 1871, August 15th, there was a letter that was written. All right. Now, if you Google this letter, you're going to find it being discredited and whatnot. But it's kind of hard to discredit it now when you're seeing World War III shaping up right now. But before World War I and World War II, people didn't know they were in World War I and World War II as it was percolating and heating up. And then it finally just kind of took off. So that's kind of where we're in right now. But that letter was on August 15th, 1871, written by Albert Pike, who was a Confederate general who also was a Mason. He wrote the book Morals and Dogma, which was a handbook for the Masons, which actually led the initiate through that book, and then it became open Luciferian worship because he was a Luciferian.
Okay.
He wrote this letter to Giuseppe Manzini, who was another lodge leader in Italy, and in that he detailed the 3 great world wars that must happen in order to bring about the New World Order. And so he detailed World War I exactly it went down, detailed World War II the way it went down, and now he detailed World War III. And so for them, like when you go to Google and you Google that letter, they're going to discredit it. But this letter's been around, and now you're seeing it happen in real time because it's going to be against the Jewish state with the Muslim state, and you see how it's all heating up. So all the pieces are together, and you look at how everything happened in World War I, the financial crash, and the false flag like the Lithuanian, and then in World War II, you had Pearl Harbor, things that fomented to get people into the war. So we're seeing the same thing go down right now.
And Trump was just
he was a cog in their wheel at the time, installed it. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully God gives us a reprieve and that it somehow
That's crazy.
But if you look at the prophetical timetable and the prophetical clock,
it's all lining up.
It's the world's not falling apart, it's falling in place according to God's word and his sovereignty.
Yeah, Alfred, do me a favor. Can you pull up Van Jones, Democrats are running Kamala Harris for president?
Oh, okay.
Cue that up. But I'm not saying that. I think I've talked about this before. I'm not saying that Putin is the ideal freedom-loving, democracy, constitutional republic promoting guy. But I think he's Russia first.
Yeah.
And I think that his means of accomplishing his agenda, which I think that he cares about Russia. I don't necessarily buy into the narrative that he's just this madman that is out for hunger, power, and world domination.
I agree.
That sort of thing. I think that he loves Russia. I think he's about his country, and I think that he just believes that he's by force or whatever means necessary, he's gonna protect and push whatever ideas or policies that he feels are the right ones for his country. I mean, because sometimes it's tempting here too. I mean, sometimes it's tempting to say like, man, it would be nice to, I don't know, let's just start rounding up Antifa guys and putting them in jail. You know what I mean? Cool. Let's start putting some of these people in the media in jail. It'd be it's tempting to just forget freedom of speech. We know it's clear and obvious that there's evil and corrupt people. Let's just lock up Fauci. It's tempting to do those kind of things. And, I just think Putin, people like him, believe that, he's not willing to have that level of freedom because there is a trade-off to it, right? Yeah. And the trade-off is that when you have these issues, it's more difficult for you to solve it when you have things like the Constitution that get in your way.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I actually agree with you on that, and solely because I don't know if you watched the Tucker Carlson interview with Putin, but when he was speaking, obviously it's in translation, but he he wasn't like nervous or anything. He was just like, he's just having a conversation. And when he was speaking more on China, he was like, well, they're our neighbors, so we're going to have to deal with them regardless. So he didn't seem like he wanted to fight. He didn't seem like he wanted to, he wasn't like thirsty for more power. He just seems like he's Russia first, and he's trying to take care of his people as best as possible. So when people make him out to be the bad guy, I'm like, well, technically, yes, he is the bad guy, but he seems reasonable. He does seem like if you talk to him in a way that you're like, hey, I'm about business, let's just make it about business and move on. You do your thing, and everybody goes about their ways. He doesn't seem like an unreasonable person. All in all, yeah, I actually do agree with you about Putin being Russia first and him not being too much of a bad guy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think he comes in the spirit of the czars, because back in probably it was around 1868, 1869. Back then, the globalists back then wanted to bring every nation on earth and have a one world government back then. But the Tsar of Russia found out, stalled it, didn't want nothing to have, because he wanted to keep Russia's sovereignty. So that's why in that letter it talked about World War I and how they're the communist overthrow and getting rid of the whole Tsar line, and they wiped them out as a little bit of revenge as well for some stalling it back then. So I think he has that same spirit of the czars of that, like you said, Isaac, Russia first, and then he was being threatened by the NATO forces, and he had to come out. They forced him in a corner where he had to do something.
Yeah, there's times where Trump has actually made statements like, it'd be nice to just be a dictator, kind of not exact words, but something along those lines. And that gets turned against them, like, oh, he wants to be a dictator, but I mean, he just says things that are real,
Right.
I mean, we all think of things like this. I mean, when you go back to, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, look at the president of, was it Venezuela, Bukele, right? I mean, the guy,
El
Salvador, yeah. Right. What did he do? He suspended their constitution. And the guy just started rounding up guys just based on how they look, right? Tatted down, MS-13 tattoos. It's kind of like put him in jail first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want that personally. I don't think it's worth it. But I mean, I guess. Well, let me take it back. If you're in that type of situation where your country's that bad, I mean, look at Mexico right now, right? Where it's so bad that is there a point, I guess this is a question I have, is there a point where it's a better solution to say, you know what, guys, we don't got time, we need to make an exception here because things are this bad, and if we're going to do things by the law and uphold the Constitution here, it's making it impossible for us to fix the problem?
That's a scary thought, depending who's in office and who decides to do that.
Right.
So I mean, during Obama, you saw the militarization of the police departments during his administration, and how they were, really harassing people. So it could be a very scary thing. And then he signed the NDAA before he left office too, which the National Defense. I think that I can't remember what it all stands for, but it kind of supersized the Patriot Act. And it actually gave more dictatorial powers to the president, the office of the president, during national emergencies.
That's right.
So it's a scary thing to even think that, because in the end, really, it's we the people. We're the kings and queens of our nation. So and they take orders from the from us. It's flipped the script.
Now the script is flipped.
So but it's supposed to be us who rule and reign on this land.
So Isaac, is that what you think the trade-off would be? Is if we decide to say, like, even let's say our governor, right? If we're like, hey, you need to start arresting everybody that's looting, that's doing these street takeovers, all the gangs, and he just said, all right, cool, and he had a list, just take them all, done and done. Do you think that's the freedom that we would, or that we would pay that in freedom?
I mean, there would be a trade-off, and I think for those instances, I think we don't have to violate our Constitution. We just need to enforce the laws, which we're not doing.
Exactly.
I think that what I think my biggest problem is with the media. I think there's people. I really believe that there's people in the media that I think they should go to jail. You know, and not just people within the government like your Fauci's and you know, like Pelosi and Biden and even Obama should. I mean, he killed an drone American citizens, right? Murdered them.
Yep.
And yet, you know, nothing's gonna happen, right? But you know, the media is the one that I kind of think about a lot. It's like, what's the solution to the media, because they have so much freedom and they abuse it, but it's scary, right? It's scary to. Let me put it to you this way. I thought about this before. Why can't we pass a law? I think this would be the solution, right? I know I'm going into different things, but the media is probably the biggest issue we have. One of the biggest problems that we have, because if we had honest media, we'd be getting stuff like this, where you actually have we have them actually reporting on things, and but you know what happens? They tell a lie and they never come back. Yeah. Right. And
they're
apologize.
no longer reporting. They're just telling us.
So if you passed a simple law that said, okay, if you lie, or if either lie or you misreport something, then you must start off your next either show or on your, if it's a print network, it has to be on a front page in bold letters or something.
A retraction.
Right? And you have to say a dedicated time. So if let's say it's a show or a news network, that would require them to say, okay, you need to dedicate equal amount of time that you spent regurgitating that lie. So at whatever time that is, or let's just say the first 30 minutes of your show must be dedicated to a retraction, right? And if you don't do that, then there will be some sort of, you'll be charged with something that you would still have to show evidence. I think that's not a bad compromise, right? I mean, how would you be violating the Constitution then? How are you violating their freedom? If we can prove that they lied, you still have to prove it.
Right. Well, it always comes down to that freedom of speech, no? Like,
well, but that's what we're talking about. Am I violating your freedom of speech if I'm saying you lied, it was false, fake news, and all you need to do is now dedicate your front page or the first part of your show to retract and correct the record.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine you doing that, and every single print moving forward is going to be a retracted.
They would naturally stop.
I think what you know what it is that you have misinformation. You know, they give false information. That's like you got bunk information, all right. And so you lied. It wasn't intentional because you're fed this information, and so now you should retract it and say you're sorry, and then put the truth out there. But what's going on in our and what they call legacy media, which is this mainstream lame media, they're not giving misinformation. They're literally giving disinformation, which is very subversive. That's a whole nother level, and that means they are complicit. And yes, they should go to jail because they're complicit in convincing the American people to take a harpoon, saying that it was going to, be the cure-all to get back to normalcy, and they knew all along that it was a lie, and they're complicit. And now we got millions and millions of people who are dying and are continuing to die because of that.
Yeah, I mean, look at Chris Cuomo with that whole debate thing. I don't know if you saw where he had that debate with
David Smith.
I'm sorry?
David Smith?
Yeah, with David Smith on the PVD podcast, right? And where they were showing him the videos of him, like
and Don Lemon,
with Don Lemon talking about ivermectin, and right, and now and so and he's never going to get held accountable for it.
Yeah, I know. That's
and how nuts. How many people died because of this?
Exactly,
people died because of that.
They died with the first one. And then if they survived it, others died with the second one. And if they survived that one, others died with a third one.
Well,
and if they survived that, they said it would be about a 3 to 5 year expiration date. And in November, we hit November of 2023. That was 3 years from the first round of it. And now the death rate has gone up from ages 19 to 49 over 41%. 41% death rate has gone up. And the ones who are keeping these records are insurance companies.
Well, I heard they're hiding a lot of them too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
They're not even reporting on some of them just because they were so high in numbers that it's just.
So they hid all this information from the American people, and so basically that harpoon is doing exactly what it is working. It's working exactly the way they intended to. Population control. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, so it's yeah, man. There's got to be a solution to this, but we're gonna circle back here because I just saw that I ask you know, we're taking a chance here, guys, because I haven't really, I don't know if it's the same video that I had, but apparently we have Van Jones. This is Obama's old buddy, right? He was one of Obama's advisors. This guy's a total joke, but you know, he's out there because he's talking about, you know, Democrats, you know, they can't just look over Kamala Harris, right? Yeah. So let's listen to this clip here on Van Jones talking about Kamala Harris. Ooh, kind of loud. You have it on full volume. Just put it. Yeah, sorry guys.
He's still in the race, and he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Oh,
I'm glad to see him out there. I'm glad he's doing interviews. I'm glad he's doing all those things. The challenge is that the numbers are not encouraging, and the party is no longer united. You already have 4 House Democrats who are saying step down. You're going to have more. You're going to have more. This week, unfortunately, you're going to have the split screen of the president having, you know, NATO allies here and people in his own party looking at this math. As David Axelrod said, this time 4 years ago, Biden was up 10. He's down 6. We needed that debate to turn things around. It did turn things around in a negative direction. And so I think that he's going to have to look at his heart. This is a party that loves him.
Man.
I've never heard so many people say about a politician, I love this man. Not just I respect him, not just I admire him. I love Joe Biden. He is beloved in this party, and yet he may not be able to get us across the finish line. And I think people are hoping that he will recognize we're running Kamala Harris for president right now. That's who we're running. Nobody believes Joe Biden's going to be president in 4 years. And so we're in the worst possible world because she can't defend herself. She has to defend him. We can't defend her. We have to defend him. If we're basically running Kamala Harris anyway, let's run Kamala Harris and let her get out there and defend herself.
Making a point.
And accept that's where we are. The reality is we are running Kamala Harris for president one way or the other. I'd rather run her for president in the strongest way rather than the weakest way.
Go ahead and pause. Yeah, you know what? He makes a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's making you know, Van Jones, once in a while, man, the guy actually does say things that I agree with. I mean, he's a total Marxist. You know, he's that he and that's not even he is a Marxist, guys. Look up his background. Back when he was, I think he was a professor. He's all about distribution of wealth, total just big government. I mean, the guy, Obama brought him to the forefront, but people need to realize this guy's background. But anyways, I think he makes a good point. He's making a good point, guys, that you're essentially, because, you know, the reality is, even if Biden were to win, he's not going to finish 4 more years.
No, not at all.
So realistically, you're going to end up with Kamala Harris one way or another. You might as well
just throw her in.
You might as well, you know, run her now. I mean, to me, she's not an upgrade.
No.
I mean, do you? She's definitely not an upgrade from Sleepy Joe. And you know, one of the things that's been annoying, and I don't know if I'm just a bad person, but one of the things that really bothers me is when people say, you know, God, I feel so bad for Biden. You know, they feel this sympathy and empathy for him for the fact that he's sick and he probably has dementia. I don't feel bad for this man at all.
Me neither.
I think he's so evil.
Yep.
That
you see him filling up little girls and they're trying to move out of the way, and he still reaches for their little chests, and he's sniffing them all the time, and you can see the parents' faces are all like what do I do? This is the president, you know, and they don't do nothing, you know, and he just takes advantage of all these little kids. And no, I don't. This is what happens when you live a life of sin. It catches up to you sometime. Yeah, eventually, payday someday. Yeah. And now you're seeing this guy, you know, deteriorate, and like you, I don't feel bad for him at all.
Yeah, Alfred, pull up this Joe Biden rubbing man's arms. Have you guys seen this?
Oh yeah, that was weird.
You just reminded me.
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. So
it's weird, man. I don't know why he didn't say anything too. Like he's just feeling you up. Why didn't you wait, dude? Like back up, man. That's kind of weird. Like it was
rubbing
those parents. They don't even do nothing.
No. It was a grown man.
Yeah, right
it was
there.
a grown man.
Yeah, let's see if we can.
That's why it was weird because this grown man. I don't know if he was taller than him, but he's just like feeling his arm up, and it's weird.
It was actually shorter.
Was it? Oh, was he shorter?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was that guy
Stroke
right
man's
there with
arms.
the glasses.
Yeah, let's see if this is it here, Alfred. Hit play. We might have to skip.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one.
We got an ad coming up, but yeah, you know, I struggle with it because, well, you're a pastor, so you give me a pat. I was kidding. But no, well, as a Christian, right, we go by God's word. We ain't worried about no pastor's opinion, but I struggle with it a little bit because I do get convicted about it because I sometimes I wonder like, but you know, we are, you know, he's a human being, you know, he's still a child of God, guys. Well, he's not a child of God; he's a demon.
A child of, Satan.
But he is. God loves the man. I guess I'll put it this way, and I'm sure he doesn't love his actions, but it's for me. I don't feel any empathy for him at all. You know, the guy can very well drop out of the race right now. If he really cared for America, that's what he would do. He wouldn't have ran to begin with. Yeah. Right.
Well, because he would acknowledge that he's just not fully there. So,
what's going on with the video, Alfred?
It's ready to go.
Oh, okay. Let's play this real quick. Sorry. No, I saw you playing, and then I was like, yeah, let's see what the.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid the those little commercials.
Yeah. Let's hit play. Let's see what's going on here.
I think we go.
What happened to the audio?
Over to the right. Yeah.
We've seen him stumble, but have you seen him stroke? I'm sorry to say about to. Now, look, in moments like this, our colleague Paul Murray would bring out his Richard Mercer voice, the Love God, who, of course, on radio used to do love dedications every night. Well, I can't quite do the voice, but turn down the lights and get ready for some love.
Guys, check this out.
The song, dude.
Bro.
Oh, he looks at it too.
Look at the guy next to him. Look at the guy next to him too.
What?
Skip that. You just hover over the skip and hit play, and then hover over the skip. There's no.
That's.
Sorry, guys.
YouTube is doing this on purpose.
We need to get the ad free, but hit skip. Look at the guys next to laughing like, bro.
Oh, dude.
What? Good.
Yeah. You know when they go to the break room, he's talking a gang of stuff.
Isn't it weird, guys? I mean, is it short again? I think hit play, Alfred. I can't get it.
Wants the black vote. He really wants the black vote.
Going on there? Like, I'm sorry.
That's so weird.
The guy's looking at his
Look at his face.
Bro. The dude,
Look at both their faces. Look at the other.
And then he puts his hand on Trump's hand as if to say, mate, this handshake is over.
All right, guys, that's good enough.
Dude, that's weird. Man, like, what do you do? Because you know he's old, and you know he probably doesn't know exactly what he's doing, so you're just sitting there trying to shake his hand, like, and he's, that's weird.
How do you avoid that though, bro?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you avoid that? That's
pull your arm away. Hey, dude. Yeah, chill out.
Chill out. What are you doing? Grabbing my arms.
I don't swing that direction.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine what those guys that are there, like all their friends? Because a lot of people have seen this video by now, right? So you know, their friends, their buddies have all seen the video. You know, he's probably getting clowned. Like,
100%.
Bro, you got stroked by the president. You got stroked.
Man stroke.
You got molested. You got. Dude. There is something, guys, there is something wrong with this man.
Yeah.
In no world would I ever consider rubbing a man's hand. There is no context for this. No. Right? No. I mean, how do you guys, so we thought it was just little girls and
that's all I've seen.
Sniffing hair, but he's taking this to another level where, man, black men.
He really wants that vote.
I got to give it to that commentator, bro. This is Sky News Australia. This is what the Aussies are looking at us and saying, "What is this?" You know, they made a mockery, but this is what the U.S. wants.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they want. Mm-hmm. They want to have in our Navy, rainbow cakes being cut. You know what I mean? Like this is what in Poland, our servicemen being chased around and say, "What are you gonna come over here and do? What are you guys doing here and do?"
I tell you why. Another reason why they really hated Trump back in 2016 and continue to hate him is because he's an alpha male, and nowadays people don't even know what an alpha male really looks like, and Hollywood and media does not want to break that spell from the American people. And so they don't want him to be that alpha male, out in the public. Yeah. So this whole thing that went down just a few weeks ago with the whole porn star issue. At least it wasn't a little girl like some of these other guys.
Yeah. I mean, even that. I mean, you got the guy Michael Cole. I mean, the guy literally is a scumbag, right? You can say it. I mean, the guy literally in front. They're saying, "Hey, I took an extra $50,000, right?" So you consider that stealing? I guess so. Yeah, I mean, he said it himself. Yeah. I mean, come on now. But hey, I mean, we heard this again last. I think it was with Andrew Cuomo. Remember, there's that conversation where he says, "Man, that's not gonna fly." I mean, but hey, to each his own, man.
Yeah, guys. Maybe in his delusion, he thought that guy was like a really hot looking black woman. Or maybe he thought it was a little 11-year-old black girl. I mean, we don't know what goes on in Joe Biden, but lost. And what's funny is, again, guys, when you go back, it's like the guy next to him. It is so obvious. The guy next to him is looking at him.
He knows it right away.
He notices it.
I'm thinking the guy next to him like, oh, I can't believe he.
Bro, they were talking about this the whole time after this, right? Yeah. Bro, did you see him rub your? Yeah. Bro, bro, I would. What would you guys have done if that was in your situation? Honestly, though, be honest. Would you have just let it happen like that?
I would have laughed 100%, just out loud.
Look at that.
I mean, the guy.
The music, bro.
Oh my god, dude, that's so weird,
bro.
I mean, Sky News Australia, man.
God,
They're
hilarious, dude.
I didn't have it, bro.
I think even the see the black chick with the dreads in the back. She's look at her. She's laughing.
She's trying to hold it back. She's trying to hold it back.
And I can tell you right now that the bald guy right there sitting down with the beard on the right side of the screen.
Yeah. Oh, he's laughing.
You can tell by his cheekbone. That dude's laughing. He's got a view to this. He's just like, bro.
Hey, the funny thing about this whole thing, man, is I'm looking at probably this lady right here in front, right next to him. It's a staffer. Said this is not gonna go.
Oh no, yeah, she's seen her. She's just used to it, dude. She's just like looking. She's just looking. Right. She's looking at her like her supervisor, like, bro. Like here he goes. How do I handle this one?
Yeah.
It's absurd, guys. This is your guy. God, this is your guy. There's nothing you can ever say about Trump. There's nothing you can say about any other candidate. This is the standard. This is the guy you're voting for. This is the guy you voted. Democrats, this is your representative.
81 million votes.
Well, 26.6. That's the real number.
26.6.
Yeah, so it's crazy, man. I honestly think I would have probably grabbed the hand he's rubbing me with. I probably would have pulled my arm away.
Oh yeah,
just a natural reaction. I would have
like, dude, what are you doing?
Like, what the heck? What are you doing?
Yeah, once you start going like here and then just sliding down, it's
like really like central.
Yeah. But who does that, bro? Who does?
Nobody.
Alfred Biden. Bro, who starts from the top forearm and move his way into having double hands, bro? Look at him, double hands.
Dude, even my best friend I've known his whole life, man. I still, man, if he comes up to me and does something like that, I'm like, dude, that's a little weird. All right?
Yeah.
Back it up there, Chachi.
Dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's that's definitely weird, man.
Wow.
Yeah, guys. So Trump to Vivek's credit, if we go back to one of the debates, which we should have pulled up pulled up the video clip on that, but during the primary, one of the debates, Vivek had come out and called out the Democrats and told them to run their real candidate, If you guys remember that,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah.
He actually called that too. He actually called it that they're having this debate this early for the sole purpose of replacing Biden.
Yeah.
Like a few months before, or whenever it was announced that they were going to have this debate.
Yeah, so pull this. Look for this here, Alfred. It looks like this is a campaign. This was 2 weeks ago. Vivek Ramaswamy claims Biden won't be 2024 Democratic candidate. Right. This is going to be at his.
You said Vivek what? I'm sorry.
Vivek Ramaswamy claims Biden won't be 2024 Democratic candidate.
Okay.
So, and this is 2 weeks ago, which was, which is after when he first said it, because he said it during the campaign. And it's not that go ahead and, right there. Yeah. So this is, I believe, at a campaign. It looks like it's a campaign speech. So let's get past the article here. Hit the little skip there, Alfred. Put the sound on.
Here, guys. USA.
So what's the time span?
USA.
Let's skip, Alfred. We don't want to see all
USA. It is a war between those of us who love the United States of America and our founding ideals.
It's 6 minutes. Okay, we'd have to find it. So that's going to be too long to find it there.
We stand for.
But he'd already come out and said it, guys. So. All of this was obvious for those of you that watch CNN. You guys all clue this, but this has been kind of talked about what the plan would be. But we'll see what's going to happen, guys. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think is going to happen here the next few days? I mean, I think they do have a video like we talked about. I think they have things they're holding on to. I think the audio of his cognitive test is something they can just that's their, like, okay, guys, enough is enough. We need to get him out.
Right.
Put it out. Put it on CNN. Put it on MSNBC.
Well, that's why the debate, came on sooner. So again, to give them enough time to say, hey, let's run somebody else because this dude's just he's dead.
Again, you go back to Truth Media, like an Alex Jones, Michael Adams, or Steve Quell, and some of those other guys. They've been talking about this for a couple of years, that they never intended to have him be the one who runs in 2024.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I've only heard it for the last few months. Probably since April, May. That's when I started hearing more so about the Democrats running a whole nother candidate, which didn't make sense to me because I was like, okay, well, they're gonna have a debate. But he should be fine through that if they're juicing him up the way they have been. I guess it didn't work, so I don't know. But yeah, it's been a while since, or for a while now that I've been hearing that.
Yeah. So you know what? I want to revisit a conversation we had that Ernest had brought up, and
about the Bukele.
No. You probably already forgot. So I did look into this. Ann Coulter, not voting for Vivek, for because he's Indian. So after further research, so this is what ended up happening. You want to look it up real quick? Ann Coulter says she didn't vote for Rick Ramaswamy because he's Indian, right? So I'm gonna go over her. This is what her explanation is, which I gotta be honest. I'm not saying I agree, but I wouldn't say it's racist. What do you got there, Alfred?
I think it's that one. It just says the Aunt Culture, Vivek Ramaswamy. She won't vote for him because.
Did you see?
I saw the video.
No, did you see though when he went on
PBD?
On PBD.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
so okay.
Yeah. So what her explanation was, and this is what he said on the PBD podcast. Pretty sure that's where he said it. Was it's her decision wasn't about his race. Her argument was, so let me fill everyone in. So Vivek Ramaswamy has an interview with Ann Coulter, and Ann Coulter tells him that, she likes him, she agrees with them, all this stuff, but that she could not vote for him because he's Indian, right? Which sounds bad. I mean, that statement is bad, right? It's bad. Yeah. I don't agree with that. But I guess what she elaborated on it, is what they don't show is that she's talking about her issue is it's not a race issue. It's how long he's been in this country. I guess her argument is that she doesn't believe that you can understand America and love America as you know. I want to say this. What she's saying is that the more generations, the more
credibility, I guess.
Not credibility, but the more you're enthralled in the American culture, the more assimilated you are, the more. And I don't agree with this completely, but she's not looking at it from a race point of view. She's looking at it from a point of view that you're only a first generation American, right? So this would apply to anybody regardless of color or where you come from. Her issue is with the fact that he's only, his parents were immigrants here. They weren't born Americans. He's a first generation, just like I'm first generation, right? I don't know. Are you first generation? Or?
No, I think I'll be third.
So you're a third generation. So her argument would be that she wouldn't support me, but she would rather have you because you're now third generation. So you've been brought up in an American culture. You're more enthralled into the culture. You have a better understanding of America. I guess more of a love for America or loyalty to America. I don't agree with it, but I get her point of view. I think it's fair. It's something to think about, but I don't agree. I don't think it's true. But I could understand her line of thinking. I don't think that's racist.
Yeah, it didn't come from a racial point of view. It came from just
like a nationalist type of view.
Yeah, more of a nationalist type of view.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say. I mean, it was her what she said sounded racist because she said Indian.
Yeah.
But Vivek himself explained it on the PBD, and this is what the point of view she's coming from. This is why he wasn't totally offended by it, because he kind of understands her point of view and that the argument that she's making. And see, this is the problem that we have, because it's like when you hear a statement like that, and for me, people listening to me to say, well, I can understand where she's coming from. I think it's something that can be debated. I don't agree. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, but I think of myself, I'm first generation, and I would say I'm as patriotic as a third, fourth, or fifth generation American. I mean, clearly, you have 5, 8, people who've been here for many generations that hate America.
Yeah.
The white liberals.
Right, white liberals. They've been here forever.
Marxists.
Right, and they hate America. And I'm first generation, and I love America. I'm trying to preserve the Constitution. I'm trying to preserve, what America stands for. So I would say that, maybe I'm being naive. Maybe I'm not as American as others. I would like to think I am. I mean, I would hope that I've proven that, Well, but I understand where she's coming from, and I would chalk this up to, maybe she's not around a lot of people like me.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's her fault. I'm not going to demonize her for it. I mean, I would be curious. To, Ann Coulter, if you want to come on the podcast and have a conversation,
and clarify,
let's get
please.
you on and let's talk about it.
Clarity is king.
You know what though? I actually got to give you a shout out on that, man, because the fact that you went and did more research on it, because what I saw. So, point one is for me that completely went over my head on the PBD podcast. I didn't take it as a racial thing. I'm sure she had her own thing, but I brushed over it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe that was it. I don't know. I don't know what her reasoning was. I'm not in her head. So the fact that you went to go look that up, that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, no, it completely went over my head. And I could understand, like you said, I could understand her point of view, because she's like, well, you're not enrooted in America's values. So why would I trust you to run the country, So like I'm not even first generation. My daughters are first generation. So but I've been here my entire life.
Right.
So I could understand her point of view, but I don't think that makes people like you or I or Pastor any less patriotic.
Right.
Considering the fact that you're first generation, I'm not even from here. So but again, I served in the military. I did, what I thought was a good thing.
Right.
But that's where I came out of that and was like, okay, well, I actually understand the American values a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Because of what I've done.
Yeah, I'd like to ask her more probing questions about it, right? Because because I could understand, okay, if you have two candidates and like, okay, you agree with their like everything, and then it comes down to, okay, well, like how long have you been an American versus this person? Is that a tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Is that a reasonable tiebreaker?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna say no. But I think that's just her line of thinking. You know, I look at it like this. Like when analogy would be, you know, as a believer, right? I tell my daughters or any woman or men for that matter that, you know, you want to marry a believer. You don't want to be unequally yoked, right? You want to believe. Now, it's not a guarantee that a Christian man is not going to cheat on you or beat you or whatever. It's not a guarantee. You know, you're not immune, right, from it. It could happen, but your chances are a lot better of a successful marriage with a Christian partner versus a non-Christian partner, right?
That's right.
So I kind of look at it the same way, where she's looking at it from that point of view. We're like, well, yeah, you're not, you know, like us Christians would say, well, I have a choice between a Christian, like in my case, son-in-law, or a non-Christian son-in-law. Who am I going to tell my daughter to marry? I'm going to give her a Christian guy, okay? Yeah. And I think it's the same line of thinking that she's approaching this with, right? It's like, well, you know, you've been in America, you know, for many generations, you know, so there somehow in her mind,
there's a little bit more
trust
there.
There's a little bit more trust there.
You know what's crazy is that on that Ann Coulter subject, though, the fact that you did that research, right? Again, you watched the Young Turks. Have you ever listened to the Young Turks?
I tried my best.
Yeah, no, trust me, I do too. But I've watched.
They were my customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. No. So so Anna Kasparian, the girl that's on there, she actually did the same thing where she listened to Ann Coulter say that portion and she immediately cut it off.
Yeah,
right
that's the one we played here.
Oh yeah.
We played the clip and they cut it off, and that's when I was like, okay, they cut it off. So that's when I knew, okay, there's more to this.
But so when I watched it prior to, and this was on a different outlet, like I listened to the full thing, but again, it went over my head on that one with Ann Coulter. So that's my own thing. But the fact that, you know, Anna Kasparian ended up cutting it right after and was like, you know, went on this whole rant because this lady was saying how, oh, well, it's because you're Indian. I'm like, well, that's, you know, obviously that's not the full story. And, you know, Isaac just,
I mean, to be fair, she literally says it out of her head. But see, again, it goes back. Like I've watched Ann Coulter for many years, you know, so I know how she is. Like I told you, remember I told you guys, she says things.
She has a different.
She says things, and she says things, and it's sometimes it's a humor thing as her being sarcastic. She's just I relate to her because I'm the same way. I say things sometimes that I intentionally say something that's absurd. It's a joke.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean.
That's what my girl says all the time too. Like I'll be you know, talking to someone and I'll say something way out of pocket, but to me in my head, I'm not trying to say it to be rude. I'm saying it just, hey, this is what it is.
Break some tension, or just
you know,
crack somebody up.
Yeah, but it happens. So I that's why I can actually understand where she comes from. You know, I still don't agree with the whole patriotic thing, but you know, that's her choice.
Oh yeah, no, I don't agree either. Yeah. And I wish actually I can ask. Yeah, let's get her. Everybody know her. Get her on the Unrestrained podcast.
Let's go.
So
we can
ask. So we can ask her some more questions. But
get the word out.
But I'm pretty confident that if we were to ask, that's what it should be. And I wouldn't agree with her. I mean, I definitely don't agree.
And to be fair, I don't know her humor though. So you know, I've only seen her a handful of
times. But all this to say, I mean, this is the problem with Republicans, that they can't get away with stuff like that because, you know, people on the left are so sensitive to words and things. They don't take things with a grain of salt. Yeah. They don't get the humor sometimes. That's the problem Trump has. Quite frankly, you know, he's just not going to change the way he is. The guy's he's being funny. He has humor. He has jokes, and people, you know, he feeds into the whole narrative that he's just this narcissist, self-indulged, self-centered person. Yeah. But yet you hear so many stories of from people that that know him, that tell you quite the opposite.
Exactly.
You know, guys like Dana White, guys like Mike Tyson, that they talk about like how much he did for them. This is why they don't betray him. You know, I think Dana White just recently was talking about that, like that Trump's just like one of the most loyal people. There was a female too that was talking about that she had a conversation with him and that he's just like the nicest guy. Like he totally helped her out. You hear a lot of stories like that. And I just think this persona that Trump, he's out there to have fun, guys. And he's out there to have fun. He has a certain humor. He has a certain personality, and he's just not willing to change that.
But like you said, to your point earlier, though, like if you look at a lot of the younger people, generation now, what is it, Z? They can't take a joke. They go to comedy clubs and get offended. And I'm like, well, why are you there? You're there to, I mean, kind of break a barrier from yourself to go and laugh at something that you normally wouldn't laugh at. I mean, if a comedian's telling a joke, it could, and mind you, a lot of comedians tell racial jokes, but some of them are, if they're a stereotype, they're funny sometimes, and you're like, whatever. So you can't tell me, you're gonna go to a comedy show where you're trying to break away from, again, yourself, to just go and have fun, go and see what the joke's about, and then get offended about it, because it's like that's what you're there for. Or if you sit in the front row and the comedian decides to start clowning you, are you going to be upset? I mean, that's initially what you're there for. You're there to just have a good time, laugh about things you normally wouldn't laugh about. But the fact that you get so offended because these words are hurting you, again, what happened to the whole sticks and stones may break my bones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look what happened to David Chappelle on Netflix. He had a whole kind of stick about the LGBTQ community, and he got a lot of flack for it. They were trying to get him off of
they
Netflix.
they tried to cancel him because he was supposedly a transphobe, but he had one of the his friends be I don't know, what do you call him, a
trans?
Yeah, trans. There you go.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that's pretty much it for the day. We'll see what happens the next couple weeks or the next couple days. We'll be back here on Monday. Loving the new microphone, sounding great there, Alfred.
Telling you, man.
They sound great, man.
But yeah, guys, thank you for joining us here, and please remember to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Yeah, man.
Don't forget to plug in Pastor Raul. Pastor Raul, give us an update on the campaign.
Oh,
come on.
Well, we had a good week last week. I was on this podcast with you all, and I appreciate you coming back. And then we went out to the 4th of July. Actually, La Moradas was on July 3rd. There's over 20,000 people. We made a lot of good connections. Talked to a little over 700 people. Then we went to La Habras on the following day and talked to like another 200 people. Door knocked on Saturday, 200 more homes, and just meeting the people and having some great conversations with them too. So,
all right, man. Well, tell those people to like and subscribe to the Unrestrained Podcast. And if you're on the Lexit site, go ahead and search us up here on the Unrestrained Podcast. You guys can go in there and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and yeah, man, that way you guys can join us every week.
That's right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you here on the Unrestrained Podcast.
Peace.
God bless you. Take care.